Hello? Anybody there? We work can see, but you're on the side. James, you want to go back to school, man? We work can see, but you're on the side. Can you hear me, Clive? You cracked it. Can you hear me? Greenie. We're in the pub all morning, Scouse. Good. Nice name, somebody called Kane Wardle. Just kidding. Greenie. Mark. Gary. Alright. Good. Don't we all? Ian. Casters, Mark, on the pole. I believe so, Martin, yeah. That's what we're going to get, Mark. We need the money, me and Cam. Cheers, Howard. Fair enough. trying to think back really. I first started. We used to go on holiday with Mum and Dad. We used to have a caravan. We used to go to places like Scotland, North Wales, and in the end, my dad was sort of into sea fishing, and he even made himself a boat in the end, a little mirror dinghy. We used to go fishing then. I remember that, and then I remember pestering my mum and dad for a fishing rod, and funny enough, I got one. There was an offer on the back of a Kellogg's cornflake packet for a spinning rod. I can see it now, a white spinning rod, reel. And actually got one. I must have had to eat a million packets of cornflakes probably, but I bought this rod, and I was going sea fishing all the time, spinning, was catching mackerel and pollock and all sorts of things from Scotland and Wales and even down south. That's how I really got started. And then one of my best mates, Mark Warren, his dad was always fishing, and I started knocking about with them. And we started off on the canal down at Stenson, and we got on the river. And then somehow there was a group of us, maybe 5 or 6 from school, always going fishing down the canal, catching nothing really, probably a few gudgeon, an odd perch. I remember somebody catching a tench once, which was amazing to us then. And I think I first got into match fishing. There was an inter-schools match, and we put a team in, and I think I had something like, I've got the cutting somewhere, about 12 ounces. I think I come second in the whole match, and I suddenly realised that's what I wanted to do was like fish matches and try and do well, and I went from there really. And then bumped into another mate who was in a club called Moorways. I got in the Moorways club, but then there was another one called Dry Nets, and basically that's how we started in them days, was going club fishing. Coach trips away to the Witham and places like that, learning lots and lots of things from lots and lots of people in the club, and sort of picked up from there. It was always river fishing to start with, always river fishing on the Trent at Willington and Swarkston, and then sort of got into canal fishing, joined Derby AA, and it went from there really. Team fishing, and sort of made a bit of a name for myself on the canals. At the time, when I was in sort of like late teens, early 20s, I was fishing canals all the time. There's loads of matches, 80, 90, 100 peg matches every weekend. So I was going there all the time. And then I think we really got into it properly. It was when we was with Derby AA, and we joined the Winter League, and we was fishing against teams like Starlets and Isaac Walton. And we were fishing the Trent all the time around Swarkston. It was fantastic fishing, or seemed fantastic at the time. And eventually I got asked by Mark Downs to fish for Starlets, and it went from there really. Cost of a laser depends on the length, from about 130 to about £180, I reckon. 6 metres, 7.5 and 9. Trevor. What do you want to know next, Clive? Do I think the Nationals will be fished? Doubtful, I think, to be honest with you. I think I don't think we're going to get to the point where they're going to let us have 500 people in an area. I don't think at the moment, Gary, to be honest. We're very surprised if the First Division one goes off in, I think it's early August, I think it is. So I don't think so, no. Mark Godfrey was the best junior. Me. I don't know, there was a load of us, wasn't there? There was Mark Warren, there was Darren Bickerton, Dave Smith, John Kiley. There was plenty of people. It was good at the time, we fished the junior matches. There was like 30 or 40 of us probably fishing every Tuesday night. It's ridiculous how it's gone from that to what it is now. When did I get my call up for England? Well, I'd fished about 3 or 4 home international. No, well, I'll start from the beginning. Home internationals. I was invited to a home international. The first one I fished was at Cardiff Docks, funnily enough. Dick Clegg had run me up, asked me if I'd like to go. I'm trying to think of the team. Paul Hughes fished. I roomed with Will Raisin, who was probably only about I don't know, it'd be about 16 or 17 then probably. Dave Vincent, them sort of people, Lee Addy. And I did alright. I won my section the first day with about 7 or 8 pound of small fish, close in, bloodworm. And then second day, I think I won the match. I caught something like 14 pound of bream, shallow. It was about 18 foot deep, and I caught about 8 foot deep, thrown in soft ground bait. So that's my first time I fished at home international. I fished about 4 of those then. So there was Cardiff, there was Scotland, there was Ireland, another one in Wales, one at home Pierpoint, and the last one was at Wales, which was Port Talbot Docks. I won my section the first day, and then we didn't do any good second day. I think something happened with the weather. And this Port Talbot Docks, Clive will tell you, it's absolutely massive. And it dropped about 8 foot. It's unbelievable, flow in and everything. But anyway, it didn't do any good. And then Mark pulled me to one side and said, "Don't say anything, but Kim Wilson's just resigned. Would you like to come to Paris?" Obviously, I said yes. Couldn't tell anybody for a week, and that was where it started. Really. I had to go to work. I'd used all my holidays up. I had to have 2 weeks off work without any pay. Went to Paris. Could have fished second day. Could have taken Alan's place, but decided not to because they was doing well. I think it was second after the first day, and it went from there really. Do we use fluorocarbon? Not very often, occasionally, but generally just use mono, to be honest with you, Andrew. Hey up, Lloydie. What's your go-to hook in Ireland? Well, either a B560 for fishing for things like roach and small skimmers. For fishing for hybrids, we've got one at Sensors now called a 3180. It's the same shape as a B560, but it's about 25% stronger. So when you're fishing a 10 or a 12, they don't straighten out. What do you think, Scout? Do you think we're going to Ireland in September? I have had a crazy frog, Matt. Yes, I think you bought them, actually. Thank you. How would I like to see the future of international fishing improved in the UK? Well, it's going backwards, Greeny, at the minute, to be honest. I mean, I remember I used to fish bloodworm and joker matches from October to March every Saturday and every Sunday. I used to keep the bait alive all the time. We had different fridges for bloodworm and joker, bubblers, riddles. I used to go out every night. I remember going out in the snow and the ice, riddling bait off. And I think I fish it twice a year now. Once at Evesham, which is likely not to be on this year, and once on the Census Challenge. We just got to have more international style fishing matches. It's as simple as that. But who's going to run them and where they're going to be, I couldn't honestly tell you at the minute. But that's what's got to happen. You know, even maybe 10 years ago, we was having census challenges in all the way through the summer with bloodworm and joker and float only. But they seem to have all disappeared now. Story of the World Championships. Well, it was in the Czech Republic on a very it was fast river when we fished it. We got there, I think, on the first week, and we caught a few Caressios, and there was a few skimmers, but it wasn't a very good venue really. And it was obvious that bleak were going to play quite a big part. And it rained and it rained and it rained all week of the official week, and I think on the Friday, you could only fish in the edge, or you could catch was bleak. So that was the way we started really. We fed long, but bleak was the main one. And I drew D section. I mean, it was all pretty much the same way. I drew D3, so relatively near the end. It was quite good. I just started fishing for bleak on I think it was like a 3 metre whip, and it just went from there really. I just caught I think 570 odd. I remember Lee Kerry was running the section. He'd come down after about 2 hours and said that I was 100 bleak ahead of anybody else in the section. I couldn't believe it. So I was carried on thrashing it to a foam and ended up with 570 for 6 kilo odd. Obviously won the section, and then the next day, I remember we was in the car park. What happens is the manager's going to do the draw, and we just generally hang about outside doing his ground bait and generally kicking his heels, and then we get a text as they draw them, telling us which peg we're on. I knew it was in A section. We always know the night before what zone you're in, so I knew it was in A section. And then it come up, it flashed up, Sean Ashby, A32. I thought, 32, where's 32? I thought, Christ, that's the M peg. Never thought anything of it. I remember setting up, and one of the French blokes comes down and gave me the thumbs up and said, "You'll be world champion." I just didn't think anything of it really. And they started off pretty bad. I couldn't catch any bleak close in, so I was fishing at 11 metres trying to catch them shallow. It wasn't really going anywhere, and we found that you could catch these bleak on the bottom, and there was a bit bigger. So I'd already fed about 6 or 7 metres out with some balls of ground bait, and I put a bloodworm on and shipped it out. It went straight on a great big bleak, and I just fished there all match really, just catching bleak. Every time I caught maybe 30 or 40 up on another little ball of joker and soiling, a bit of ground bait, and in the end I caught 250 fish. I caught some little roach, I caught a little 12-ounce Carasio, and they got down to me, and 4 kilo I was winning the section. I knew I'd got more than that. I weighed 5 kilo, and I'd won it. Unbelievable, really. Absolutely unbelievable. When fishing for small fish on a pole or slow moving, depends really, Paul. It depends what sort of fish they are for starters. The only fish you're really going to get shallow, proper shallow, I think, are things like bleak, maybe roach, but you tend to only get most places a small roach shallow, in my opinion. I'd be trying to. Usually, when I'm trying to catch small fish, I try to keep them nailed on the bottom 90% of the time. So I'd use some heavy ground bait, try and fish on the bottom with quite a decent sized float. That'll give you a chance to catch another bonus fish as well. If I was fishing for bleak and small roach, yes, I'd use a surface type ground bait, very fine. I usually make mine. I make mine wet. You can either make it very wet or very dry, and I make mine very wet, so there's almost like pools of water in it, and you can roll it in a ball and flick it out easier than you can the dry stuff. That's the way I fish for things like bleak. That's the best way to do it. But you need a bowl of water. So I've got 2 bowls, one with ground bait in, one with water. And then you just make a little ball, flick it out, wash your hands, and then you're back in your ground bait again. That's the way to do it. Right, digger. Bloodworm fishing is a dying art. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a great way of fishing. Absolutely great way of fishing. Brought up fishing, well, or like I said, from October onwards, I used to spend a lot of time on the Staney, which was fantastic practice for bloodworm fishing, because it's a canal, but it's a deep canal. It's 10 foot deep. The standard of angling was good. You've got Alan there and Lee Carey and so many good anglers at that time up there. I used to really enjoy going on the Staney, really enjoy it, but for some reason it's died off. And I'm going on the fens now and fishing pinkies and squats and ground bait. All-time heroes in fishing. Well, the obvious ones, obviously, people like Alan, all the people I fish with in the England team for starters. I mean, I'm great mates with people like Des. Me and Des have travelled together for over 15 years, I think now. We get on, he just moans a bit about me snoring, that's about all. But certainly Alan, Will, Stevie Gardner's up there. Number one's probably Bob. I don't know if he's watching or not, but when I first went to Paris, I had to go with Bob. They said he wanted a chauffeur. He gave me the keys to his car. I never got in it again. Well, never got in the driver's side anyway. I drove all the way to Paris. I think I drove all the way to Slovakia. Nearly got arrested in Slovakia for parking in the wrong place because of Bob. But yeah, those are the ones. Paul Downs, how do you manage to sleep in any location? Guinness, mostly. Guinness and a clear conscience. Do I struggle for motivation? No. It's all I do is fish opens every Saturday, every Sunday. I like fishing. I don't like pleasure fishing. I can't go pleasure fishing. I'm not even interested in going pleasure fishing at the moment. But as long as it's a 40 or 50 peg match, then I get motivated every single time. I think the motivation is not getting beat. that's the biggest motivation. But yeah, every Saturday and every Sunday. Just open. Things like Riverfest going to take place this year. I mean, it's cutting it fine a bit, really. I think June the 20th or 21st is the first one. I mean, that's only 4 weeks away now. So whether that's going to take part or not, I don't know. But I tend to fish in the summer. I just fish Riverfests and the Trent at Burton. Usually away in September for the Worlds. Hopefully this year we're going to Ireland. And then come October, I start to do silverfish fishing on the commercials, Rycroft and Meadowlands. Might even try Hallcroft this year. And then the best place I go to in winter is the drains. The Old Neen at March, Benwick, places like that. Factory Bank is just the best fishing in winter I've ever known, to be honest. Do I fancy giving the canals a go again? Probably not, Scouse, to be honest. There's too much good fishing otherwise. Like I say, the drains is just unbelievable. You catch double figures nearly every time you go in the drains. It's incredible fishing. Roach, and I catch 200 fish every time we sit down. It's crackers, really. Any sponsors apart from Census? Not really, no. Census is an all-encompassing company. They do everything from bait to every possible bit of tackle I could ever want. So no, it's just Census for me at the moment. Hooks for bleak. Well, I'm a bit of an anorak when it comes to bleak. I use a 35-30 for very small bleak, say at Evesham or something like that. For medium-sized bleak, sounds mad, don't it? Medium-sized bleak, a 30-50. Which is a long-shanked, medium sort of wire hook. And then for bleak, when we're abroad, big bleak, it's a 3065 in a 20 or an 18. I learnt a lot about bleak fishing when I came third in the World Champs in Portugal in 2006, and I saw John Dead just started with Census, and he invited me to come to Spain with him and Will. And I learned so much about bleak fishing from the French, it's frightening. About the hooks they use big hooks, obviously thread the bait on, heavy floats, they cut the flick tips back on the whips, just little things like that gives you a massive, massive advantage. And that's where I learnt it all, really. Rob Johnson, Ireland in September? Yeah, I think there's a chance, yeah, I think it's quite a good chance, really, to be honest. Provided we don't get a particularly big second wave of this virus, I think there's a chance that I don't know. Fermanagh Cup will probably be on. If the Fermanagh Cup's on, the Horseshoe will be on. Maybe the World Pairs. I booked in the World Pairs, but I don't know. That's a bit iffy because you've got to cross over the borders from north to south. There might be different laws and rules, but yeah, hopefully we'll get to go. I've never been in September, so I'd love to go. To be honest, Rob. Yeah, I've been on the Wye, but spent quite a bit of time on the Wye because obviously Riverfests. I qualified for the first 6 Riverfest finals, and obviously 5 of them were on the Wye. I think it was never really perfect for bleak, but I remember fishing a Wednesday Open, running on to the final, and I caught 38 pound of them, about 1250. But I think the Wye it's a fantastic river anyway. I mean, I've had 2 or 3 40 pounds of chub and dace on there. It's perfect for me because you just need a bucket full of ground bait and as many maggots as you can fire in. I just love throwing bait in, so the Wye is perfect for me. I did alright on there, to be fair. Any tips for being more efficient on small fish? Well, it is a time and motion thing, I think. You've got to have your roller set in the right place behind you. Everything's got to be set up perfectly all around you. I think I don't know. I think the most important thing is to make sure that you come back with a fish every time you ship back. It's not always possible, but you know, like wait for the float to go under properly. Make sure that fish is on and be efficient. Make sure you get that fish in, because every time you miss a bite, that's time lost. So I think that's the secret to it. Just be make sure you get one every single cast in, and don't miss any bites, and don't lose any fish on the way back in. All right, Sam, how you feeling? Any more questions? Your soft skins, make sure you go to your peg in future. Good, well done, Sam. Yeah, team fishing, Keaton. All right, Keaton. Do I miss team fishing? Yes. Well, team fishing is all but finished, I'm afraid to say. It's a shame. I fear the worst for our winter league this year. To be honest, on the saw, there's only been 5 teams for the last 2 or 3 years. I just can't see any way back for team fishing. There's so much good individual fishing. There's bigger prizes in individual fishing. It's a shame, because you know I miss all the you know the lads we used to get together. I remember we used to go away for national practices and all sort of winter league practices and final practice, have a real good laugh, and it was I miss the camaraderie and the crack of it all, really. But it ain't coming back, I'm afraid. There's just too much going off in individual fishing. Sadly in a way, but I mean, you know, at the end of the day, if you can go to Riverfest and win 14 grand, or Fishermania and win 30 grand, then you know that's what people want to do nowadays. There's never been any money in team fishing, in fairness, unfortunately. I never fancy my chances to win the world champs again. To be honest, Clive, you've got to be lucky for starters. I was lucky. I drew the MPEG second day. If I had drawn that, maybe I wouldn't have won it. The funny thing is, the year after I went to Poland, I fished a canal there, which was supposed to be bleak fishing, but it turned out to be roach, and we absolutely won it by a country mile fishing for roach with Joker. None of the other teams had ever. I don't think I'd ever fished Joker before, and I won my section first day, and I thought, well, maybe I could win my section. Anyway, I come second in my section the second day. I think I ended up 5th overall. I think Steve Gray come second. Alan was third. Didier Delanoy won it. I think somebody else beat me as well. So I ended up 5th. So that's about the closest I'm going to get, I think. The rabbit, it's in the freezer, Sam, with his brother. Favourite memory apart from World Champs? Ireland's always a memory. I'm afraid whatever happens in Ireland's always a great memory. I've had some great times over there. You know, obviously, hopefully, a few more to come as well. Enjoying the break for internationals for a year? Not really. No, I really fancied going to Italy, Mark. To be honest, it's my favourite country. It's always good fishing, usually. So it's a shame, but it'll give us hopefully give me and you a chance to go to Ireland, won't it? But it is a shame it's not on, but it's for the best, I think. Favourite ground bait mix for canals in winter? Well, canals and or drains. I only really use 2 ground baits, even in summer. Really, I use Gross Guard on or Gross Guard on Fine. I use Gross Guard on Fine in winter, and I mix it 50-50 with one called Canal Fine Noir. Those are the 2 ground baits I use for like 80% of my fishing. So if I'm going on a river, I'd use Gross Guard on and Canal Fine Noir. If I'm on a canal or a drain, I use Gross Guard on Fine and Canal Fine Noir, 50-50. They both mix up perfectly. How do you control the breakdown of ground bait? I think that's down to how wet you want to get your ground bait. If you mix it dry, it'll keep the air in the ball, I think is what happens, and it'll break up very quickly. If you want to make it a slow release, make it wetter. and it will break up slower, I think is the thing. And also different ground baits, you can put soil in it. Soil will break up quickly, ground bait will break up slower, basically. Apart from the world's richest match you want to win, I think the obvious answer is I'd like to win the Classic. Simple as that, really. Scouse. I'd love to win the Classic. I'd like to win the Europeans, but I'd like to win the Classic. I'll never get a chance to win the Europeans. I'll never get picked anymore, Mark. But yeah, Classic would be nice. Short rod you up, wouldn't it? Who said I'm a Derby fan? I am a Derby fan. Mark Godfrey's a Derby fan. I'd like to have won Fishermania. I come second in Fishermania once. A long time ago. The second one ever. I can't even think of the year it was. Probably about 1997 at Hallcroft. What teams do I fish for now? Just Starlets. No. Yeah, just Starlets, Clive, now. For, you know, like I say, there's no team matches. I think there'll be the National, there'll be the Census Challenge, there'll possibly be Evesham, possibly be Winter League. And that's about it. All those little 4 or 5 man teams that I used to fish every weekend years ago, they've just gone. I just, you know, we used to fish like teams on the Coventry Canal, and these were like 60, 70 teams of 4. I just don't understand where all the anglers have gone. I really don't. I'll let you know, Richard, one day, hopefully. But yeah, going back to team fishing, I don't know really what to say about it, to be honest. I just can't see how it's ever going to be resurrected unless there's some massive sponsorship. But it ain't going to happen, as far as I can see anyway. I mean, it doesn't help when you can't get people like tobacco companies. I remember going to the Hardy Bitter final in Denmark, and Embassy sponsored it. It was fantastic. Everything was paid for. It was a great event, brilliantly organised, but of course, you know, tobacco can't sponsor anything now. It never made me go smoking, that is a fact. I can't understand it. Who draws best? Well, it's obviously Cameron, Mark, isn't it? How did the French dominate last year's Census Challenge? Well, they're just... I think going back to what Martin Green was saying, really, they just fish Bloodworm and Joker matches every Saturday and every Sunday, and I think eventually they're gonna they are gonna know things that we don't know, or learn things that we can't get a chance to learn. Really, they've got some excellent anglers: Alex Cordan, Maxime Duchesse. You know, fantastic young anglers, very very quick, but they just seem to suss out how to catch these small fish. And they catch them in places we don't catch them. Catch them at 6 foot deep. The things like that. It's I don't know. Just don't know. I just don't know what the answer is. The funny thing is, when we go to France to fish the big final, which is like 128 teams, the Starlets team that I'm fished with, me, Mark Downs, Darren Bickerton, and Steve Emigray, we come in the top 10. I think we've not come in the top 10 once once or twice we've not come in the top 10 in probably the last 15 years. And we won it last year. 128 teams fishing bloodworm for skimmers and catfish. It's incredible how we can go over there and do so well. And they come over here and they beat us every time. I still can't understand it. Yes, Clive, I'll be at Evesham. If it's on, I'll definitely be going to Evesham if Bloodworm and Joker's in. I'm not sure if it isn't. I'm not sure if I would or not, to be honest. Favourite peg and method at Burton? I'm not sure about a favourite peg. The best method is probably pole and ground bait. I do like fishing waggler. There's no doubt about it. It's an easy, you know, I find it quite an easy method to fish. It's very shallow at Burton. It flows well. All you've got to do is cast your float out, put some maggots in behind it, let it go down the peg. But pole and ground bait is probably more effective, I think, is the answer to that, really. I've mentioned my favourite ground bait mixers, and then you just want some lightish sort of floats. I mean, I think a gram's a massive float at Burton, and probably more like 0.3s and 0.4s in lots of it. Just balling ground bait and loose feed maggots and pinkies behind it. That is the best way to fish at Burton. It's getting better and better as well. It's certainly better last year. You needed double figures to frame up. Fantastic fishing, all small roach and perch, dace. Not many big fish. Not many big fish there at all, really. Perfect for my sort of fishing, to be honest. Kevin Lavelle, you're right. We did win in France. I can't think what the venue was called. It was a river, a slow-moving river. Nice fishing, balling in ground bait. It was good, really, because we balled in ground bait and we found that the fish were off the bottom, and so we balled it in heavy, and then I'd set some rigs up, gram and a half, John Francois, fished about 6 to 8 inches off bottom. I double bulked it, so I got an Olivet and then 2 number 8s together, and every fish that I caught held the bulk up. And I won my section first day with 6 or 7 kilos, and I drew the same zone, which is 128 pegs, somewhere in them 128 pegs. They did exactly the same, and won the section again with 6 kilo again. It was just incredible, really. And then obviously we got back, and I think Bicko had won his section. Mark was second, I think, second or third, and Stevie Emigre was second. We got 7 points. We knew then we got a right chance to win it. And what an achievement! 128 teams in France, and you go and win it. What's the one thing you've done throughout your angling time that's resulted in being a game changer? Probably starting work for Census. I started work for Census in 2006, straight after I'd come back from Portugal from the World Championships. And like I said, I started to get invited to go to Spain with people like John Desk and Gilles and people like that, Eric Luban. And I learnt a hell of a lot extra bits that I could never have learnt in the UK about fishing for, let's say, for bleak, for carp on rivers, because there's, obviously our rivers, there's no carp in our, very few carp in our rivers. And I think that was probably the turning point. I got involved in Census, so all of a sudden I could use everything that I wanted from Census. I could get anything I wanted from Census. I could test stuff from Census. I could experiment with the ground bait, so everything. I think, probably working for Census in 2006. Favourite Census products? We do lots of great products. The floats, I think, are fantastic. Absolutely fantastic float. I think they're the best floats for what I call traditional fishing. Rivers, canals, the silverfish. They make the best. Easy loops. Some of the poles, fantastic, light, stiff. So I'm biased, Dean, but they make a lot of products that I use and would use, even if I wasn't sponsored by them. Certainly the floats and the poles, without a shadow of a doubt. I'm not going to fish, Clive. No, I'm not going to fish until we can start fishing matches. I can't pleasure fish. It's impossible. It doesn't do anything for me at all. So all I'm doing is spending lots of time on my kit. I've done hundreds of rigs. I'm now starting to do hooks, and I'll be ready come June hopefully June the 20th. I think I've got a ticket for Riverfest on the Calder on the 20th of June. That will be hopefully the first time I go fishing. Lee Harris, what's your funniest memory from Ireland? Probably can't say on here, to be honest. Every night's funny. Every night's funny, the people I go with. But it is a fantastic place. If you've never been to Ireland, it is. You've got to go once in your life at least. The fishing's not always brilliant. It can be, but it ain't. The fishing I love. But I could sit there some places and dry net. It's a beautiful place, great people, and the people I go with. Well, some of you all know them. You know why I want to go away with them all the time. We have a lot of funny nights and days. Anything else? Anybody? Canal de Martin. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Yeah, it was a nice venue. Maggot hooks. I use a lot of carbon match when I'm on the rivers. Carbon match are a great hook. B560 is very good. I use some Census ones for pink in that called a 3210 and a 32. They're very good for kids and maggots. England's best team. I think probably Spinadesco. It takes some doing to beat Italy in Italy. 2008. You might have listened to Will's thing on Facebook earlier in the month. I think Spinadesco was the best. It took some working out, and you know I don't know if everyone knows, but we fished. It was just a concrete bank both sides, very steep banks. And we've been tipped off that there was some fish down the edge, and we in the end, I think we was putting ground bait and dead maggots down the side, and we did it a couple of days, and we caught some asp, which are like a predator. Never catch them normally, but anyway, these asps come into the side, and like you could catch odd ones on those big ones, you know, 2, 3, 4 pound, and then we just didn't do it again all week, and then come the day of the race, I think I certainly had an asp first day that got me a lot of points. I know Stevie had a carp, I think Alan had a carp and a bream. It just worked better than we could ever possibly imagine, and I think we was miles ahead after day one. It was all over really, and of course the next day everybody just chucked loads of bait in the edge, but nobody caught anything, and it was just a brilliant. I mean, I love it. Like I said at the start, the people, the weather, the fishing, everything. The 8, 10, and 12 grams, I think. And I use one of them and then put some shot either side of it. Make sure I've got 4 or 5 shot underneath it. That makes like a boom, so you don't get any wrap over tangles. And then 2 number 6 droppers is my favourite really. So I'll have my hook underneath it, 4 or 5 shots, and then 2 number 6s, a quick release swivel, and then my hook length. Do I think hybrids spawn? I'm pretty sure they do. 100%. They definitely have capability of spawning, Mark, because I remember in the King of the Erne a couple of years ago, Lee Kerry had caught a massive weight of hybrids at Cleanish stands running onto the bridge, and me and Roddy had drawn no good. We went to weigh them in, and there was eggs and all over the place, eggs and spawn and whatever. So they definitely go through the motion, and I can only presume that they do spawn. I mean, I've caught all size hybrids now, tiny hybrids to obviously 4 pounders. So they definitely, I'm pretty certain they spawn. Pretty certain. And of course, Mark, you'll know, Mark, that there's more and more skimmers being caught now in Ireland, which is a great sign, really. Pound and a half skimmers have not been seen for years, and I think I saw some weights of like 20 kilos last May. Incredible, really. Matches on probably not, Paul. To be honest, it's a shame. I'd like to fish the Y, but I just can't fit it in. It'd be different if the Riverfest was on there. But it's not for whatever reason, so probably not. No, I did enjoy coming down there. Like I said earlier, it's definitely my sort of fishing. You know, crashing ground baiting is definitely the way I want to be fishing and fishing. You know, feeding a gallon of maggots. It's just like, where else can you do it nowadays? So yeah, I'd like to fish the Y, but probably not. Right, I'm gonna have to plug you in. Running out of battery. How's that? That's better. What do you think, Mark? Did you think the spawn or what? Any more, Clive? Definitely, yeah, I think so. I think we've done that one, Paul. Bob Nudd's my number one, but Stevie Gardner's close second. Will, Alan, Des. You're in my top 300. When did the Fisho final? I think it was 1996, 1997, Matt. It was the second one ever. I qualified on Rowington Canal. I'd drawn just an open peg, and it had where some staging had been, and the staging had gone. There's a couple of uprights still, and I remember setting up, and there's a chance of some bream in the air. Remember it? And as I was setting up, I saw a carp swimming right in the shallow water right over. I thought, yeah, I might catch one of them. And I don't know what gear would have had in them days, elastic wise, but I remember hooking one. It might have been like Black 8. It was that long ago. Anyway, obviously it just completely chewed it all up, and I think I hooked another one, and that broke me. Then I fished a straight lead. I lost one in the weeds. I've lost 3 now. I went for a walk. Come back, there's about half an hour to go, and I took the straight lead and I started putting all my pole rigs away. I never had a rod rest in them days. I just got my hold all across just sticking out the canal. And my rod fell in. I thought, blimey heck. So I picked the rod up, and I've got a fish on, and there's all trees the next peg down, and I went down for about 4 pegs, and I thought this was going to take me into the trees. And for some reason, it went straight down the middle of the canal, and I played it for about 15 minutes, and I got this carp out 5 kilo. And I qualified for the final. The final was at Hallcroft, and we went there fishing. I was fishing fishing for skimmers. There wasn't many carp in there. We didn't think so. No carp had been caught hardly. It was all skimmers, and sort of got a method with ground bait and squats, and then loose feeding casts over the top. And I can't think what I caught. I caught some skimmers, and then I caught a little carp, and then word come that the guy was catching lots of carp on meat. And so I started feeding lots of bait. I caught a big carp, but anyway, I ended up second. I was way off. I think I ain't got a clue what weight I had. It weren't a massive weight that won it, 20 odd pound. I think I had like 14 or 15. I caught the biggest fish anyway. I've got a massive wine decanter telling me that I caught the biggest fish. Not quite the same as 25 grand, is it? How old was I when I fished for England first? I think I was 20 years, 54, 34, I reckon. It would have been 20 years this year if I'd gone to Italy. So I would have been 34 when I first fished properly in a World Championship. But I'd fished probably 6 years before that in home internationals. So 27, 28, I reckon, was when I first got into the home international setup. I'm guessing about that anyway. Seven years, yeah, Poland, yeah. What's the chances? It's getting harder for many reasons. Firstly, the other teams. When I first got into it, it was just starting to change when I first started going with the World Championships to the World Championships. There was other teams just starting to break through, like Hungary and Russia and Serbia. Before then, it had been almost a 3-horse race for a long time with France, Italy, and England. But now, there's probably more than a dozen teams could win any World Championship, depending on where it is. And I think the reason is that everybody's got access to the best tackle now. You know, all countries now, all Eastern Bloc countries, they've got access to the best possible tackle. Census are over there, Miele are over there, every tackle company is over there. So they've got all the best gear now, and more importantly, they're fishing international style matches all the time. They're fishing with 13 metres. They're fishing with Ludwig and Joker. They're fishing float only, and it's got to make an impression. They've got to, even if it's just catching England up. they've caught us up, and now it's a case of, horses for courses. We're very good in the northern hemisphere matches. The colder ones where we're fishing for roach and bream, and fish like that. And when we go and fish for things like carasio and catfish, we struggle because we just don't do it. I fish for catfish maybe once a year in France, and there's definitely a massive way of catching them. And we have an idea, but it's the same as anything. You've got to do it week in, week out to be good, to be good at it, to be really good at it, and we just do not do it. And we'll always challenge, certainly on places where roach and bream and carp and fish like that are present. And it will always be a struggle, I think, when we're fishing for catfish and carasio and things like that. It is harder to win. It's getting harder every year. But like Mark says, we're still ranked 1 or 2 in the world. We're still usually in the top 5. It's just very difficult to get in the top 3 now. And winning it, when we first started going, I just remember thinking we've always got an edge. Always got an edge. We had an edge in Italy with the ass down the edge. We had an edge in Hungary. We're fishing long lines over the ledges. Poland with Joker. It's but you don't seem to get that edge so much now. It's incredible, really. Sometimes the other teams have got the edge and we can't find that edge. It's very, very difficult. Who's the other team? Oh, ranked 1 or 2. Italy, I'd guess. Italy will be 1 or 2. Will be 1 or 2. France will probably be 3rd, I'd have thought. But teams like Hungary and Russia, Serbia, trying to think of what else there is. Any of those sort of Eastern Bloc countries now are very. Czech Republic, fantastic team on certain venues. Very, very difficult to beat, impossible to beat on some venues. One bit of tackle, couldn't do without. Well, funnily enough, it's a little thing. It's the Census Easy Loop. I don't think I could make a rig. I couldn't make a rig with that an Easy Loop now because it makes the loop exactly the same size every single time, and it's so quick to make it. So I think my Census Easy Loop would be the best thing that I could, or the thing I couldn't really do without. Certainly when I'm doing rigs at the moment, like I am. What's that, Mark? Czech 3 years ago. France are on a good run, yeah. I think France are on a good run because the venues suit them. There are a lot of small catfish, which is what their country's overrun with catfish. France is. Wherever you go in France, you will catch a catfish. And they are very, very good at catching them. And they've got some anglers who are very, very quick on them. Alexander, Cordan, and Maxime, absolutely stunning on catfish. Impossible to beat, probably. Things have changed since I fished the World Champs. Can you see it with wood and rod and line? Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It depends on the venue, Clive, really. I mean, I think Alan's won it twice on rod and line. He won it on the Bollo in Italy. And I think he won it on the slider in Hungary. So, yeah, if you get the right venue, I mean, it would have been, I think if we'd gone to Italy this year and fished the what's the name of the river? Mincio. That would have been a Bolognese long rod venue. I think it would have been one on rod and line, 100%. Fishing for chub and a fish called scardola, which is similar to I think it's like a roach chub hybrid type affair. I think, I don't know. So yeah, that would definitely be almost certainly a running line venue if we get there. It's supposed to be. They're back there next year. They've just postponed everything for a year, so we'll be back on the Mincio next year. And it will be Bollo, possibly Waggler. There will be some long pole fishing, but it will be predominantly running line on that one. And we'll see what team gets picked for that. But it'll be difficult. I know the French don't fancy it. they want a short pole fish race, but Is Mark Downes a good manager? Well, he's all right. He's not done bad, has he? I can't think of what we've won, but we've won quite a lot since he took it. I think Paris was the first year for Mark as well. I think Mark and Marco. It might have been the year before, but I don't know. Mark will tell you. I think we've won 6 or 7 world golds. I've won 4 European team golds, and they've definitely won some when I've not been fishing in Europeans. So he's done all right. Who's the best at will raising without a shadow of doubt? Frightening. I don't know. I just don't know. I've got a few stories about Will, but going back to Spinadesco in the World Champs, and I remember I've got a picture somewhere at home in my office, and there's a picture of me stood on. It was before puller kits. I remember I've got a picture of me stood on my box with about 8 meters. We fished with something like a blue hydro type elastic. I've got a carp on. I've got a 5 meter landing net. I've got 8 meters of pole up in the air behind me, trying to net this carp. I remember at the same time, Will hooked a carp, and he got it in within about 2 minutes on a top 4. I've absolutely no idea how he did it. He just, I don't know. He just seems to know where they are. And then a couple of years ago, we went to Slovenia, and he hooked a barbel. Again, same elastic, funnily enough. So obviously he got a lot of pole out. It was deep, so he couldn't use pullers. It was like top 5 deep. And he's got 11 metres of pole in the air. And he's got his landing net under the water by about 3 foot. And it's like he's just had a bit of a furk about in the water. And he just comes out with a 4-pound barbel. I'd still be playing it now. I just cannot believe how he does it. So yeah, he's the best by a country mile, I think. Have I ever made any videos on you? I made one the other day, Clive. Yeah, it took me about a week and a half to get it on Facebook about making rigs. I don't really like doing them, to be honest. I'm a bit shy. Kevin Lavelle. Well, yeah, probably, because I remember, like when I was a kid, before I got in the England team, when there was ever a World Championship, they'd do a write-up before the team went, saying, write-ups about the individuals in the team, write-up about the venue, write about the other teams, and then they'd have when the team came back, they'd probably have 4 or 5 pages on the World Championships. I've got like a bit of a scrapbook type thing. They'd have like 4 or 5 pages on how they did it, and interviews with the anglers and how the anglers did, and look, if you get a page now in some of the magazines, it's a disgrace, really, to be honest. I just don't know. I don't know what the magazines are thinking, really. They certainly haven't done us any favours from that point of view. We used to get even when we won in Paris, we got great coverage for a couple of years, but it's just died a death now, and it's wrong, really. People need to get. I used to get excited about it. Couldn't wait for the Wednesday to go and buy the Anglian Times and Angler's Mail to see how England had done. He'd heard a few things, but obviously it wasn't the same as it is now with social media. You just heard snippets. What you want to do is get the paper and just spread it out and just read every single word about the World Championships, and it doesn't happen anymore. And there isn't. You're right, Mark. There is no respect for it. I'm afraid it's sad. It is sad, but it's just the way it is. It depresses the team, really. We talk about it quite a bit. It's no holiday, it's no picnic going and fishing the World Champs. It's hard work, really. We're driving all over Europe, up at the crack of dawn. It's usually red hot, usually red hot. It can be raining a lot, I suppose, but it's mostly red hot where we go. We're fishing like 7, 8, 9 hours a day, making rigs up. It's just non-stop work. You're absolutely knackered by the end of it before you even fish the match itself. And then we're driving home and we see Facebook and there's some negative comments, or there's no comments at all, which is even worse, really. Nobody really seems to be that bothered about it, to be honest. It's a crying shame, but I don't know how you change that again. And England Media Man, the problem is, Kevin, is funding. That's the problem. You know, we haven't got any funding anyway now since Drennan withdrew the sponsorship. We haven't got any funding, so the only people that either we pay or our sponsors. Luckily, that you know, censors contribute towards me going away with England. Without that, it'd be very difficult to do it. So we can't afford to take runners, never mind a media man. Unfortunately, that's the problem. We need a sponsor in the realm of Drennan that the Drennan used to do, but they aren't going to be easy to find at the moment. Have I ever scraped my own blood? Yeah, badly. I used to go with. When I first started fishing, I hooked up with Nigel Bull, who's I think he did fish for England once in a home international in Scotland. Very, 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 very good angler from Derby. Still fishes now, still wins now. He used to take me bloodworm and joker fishing, but generally I was just fishing and carrying because I couldn't actually, I couldn't do it very well, I'm afraid. So, but yeah, I used to go every Friday scraping joker and bloodworm. Yeah, and then used to be Friday night, great bloodworm and then go to the pub. Perfect. Need a media man. Yeah, well, they used to do it. They used to do, you know, look at Andy Ford used to do one for Sky, didn't he? And I think since that's packed up, I think a lot of the interest has gone. You know, what was it? Keith Arthur used to do his fishing program, and they'd always have a video of the World Championships on there. And that just kept it in people's minds, and it's gone now. And like I say, there's just no coverage whatever now. Nothing. Bloodworm hook. Well, I use 3210s mostly for roach fishing. I also use the same hook for pinky fishing, but for bloodworm, yeah, a 3210 is a fantastic fine wire but relatively strong hook. It's got it's like a squarish hook. I quite like them shape hooks, square hooks. So we've got 3210. We do a 3260 that's a little bit thicker, and we also do called a 3530, which is quite a narrow gape, but that is an excellent roach hook as well for bloodworm and joker. Fantastic. Kevin, yeah, well, they used to do Kevin, but they will not pay. They don't. It's a vicious circle. They don't think there's enough people interested in the World Championships for them to pay somebody to go to do it. That's the problem. It's a vicious circle. It's just like I say, it used to be like that. The magazines used to go. Angling Times used to go. Andy Ford used to do a video there, but all of it's gone. Riverfest, fantastic. It is fantastic. I've got 10 tickets this year. I can't think where they all are. I've got the Calder, I've got the Neen, I've got 3 on the Thames, got one for the Trent at Burton Joyce, Weaver, Saw, 1 or 2 others. But I've got 10. Hopefully I won't use them. I didn't qualify last year, which is a bit of a shocker really, but hopefully this year we'll have another go. But yeah, 10 goes, so I'd like to think you get one good draw in 10. Des is a legend, alright, yeah. Yeah, ask him about me snoring, Matt. It's the only time he's ever fell out with me. Guru are doing a good job for the juniors. Absolutely. They are probably the only company that's really got any money at the moment in this trade, or making any money in this trade. You know, they're brilliant at what they do, and they must make a profit. And fair play, they're giving some of that profit, trying to encourage people into the sport. The trouble is, it needs everybody to do it, and I don't think, you know, I just don't think there's enough profit in for lots and lots of manufacturers at the moment. Sadly. All right, Paul Hudson, are you open? Anything else, Clive? There we go. Is the word? No, no, no. It's all cancelled, Clive. Everything from FIPS, Europeans, Worlds, Kids, Veterans. They've all been postponed to next year. I think it's sensible. I just can't see how you couldn't guarantee getting there because you know we're in Italy. We've got to cross France, Belgium, Germany, possibly bits of Austria, possibly. I just don't think all these countries are going to have different rules and different regulations. We'll just never get there. Don't think we'll be able to get any insurance either. So I think it's just it was the only option was to cancel it and then just start again next year. We do need some of that Drennan Super League, yeah. Again, they were brilliant. Fantastic Super League we used to have in the Midlands. You know, you'd have a practice match, then a match, then a practice match, then a match. It just took all summer up. It was absolutely perfect. It needs something like it, but I'm not sure. I think the only way forward for team fishing is smaller teams, 4 and 5 man teams, and it needs a sponsor. But it's going to be hard to revive it. I think the individual fishing is very good now. Certainly you've got your commercial side, which has been good for years, and you've got those people probably aren't really interested in team fishing because they've not been brought up in it to a degree. I might be wrong there, but that's my opinion. And I don't think there's enough people out there that want to fish team fishing anymore. I think people have got used to picking the matches, going where they want to go and when they want to go, and it's difficult. I'd like to see it, but I don't think it's going to happen. Best bit of kit. Well, I've got lots of best bits of kit, really. You know, I don't want to come on here and be a sort of a mouthpiece for saying about Census products, but virtually everything I use is Census. I think the pole I use is probably the best pole I've ever had, but then again, you know, I'm bound to say that on a 1094, superb for my sort of fishing, which is mostly natural venues, but it will catch big fish without a shadow of a doubt. I've mentioned, you know, all the floats we do. I think they're the best. I think they're the best floats out there as well. But yeah, I think as a major piece of kit, then the pole. And then it just depends where else you're going. I've got a great platform. I've got an Alan Lockwood platform for Ireland. They are the best platforms, bar none. I can't believe how stable they are, how high you can get them. I mean, it's an essential bit of kitting on. You've got to have a platform in Ireland, and if you're going to have a platform, you might as well have the best. And that is the best one. Alan Lockwood platforms. They're not cheap, but they are the best. You're going to buy it once. Travelling partner. I've had a few. Not that I fall out with people, but Kean Wardle. He's been on earlier on. I was travelling with Kean. I've travelled with Nigel Bull, and now I travel with Cameron Hughes, son of Nathan. I think we've been travelling with Cameron now for probably longer than I think. It's nearly 10 years now. We don't live too far away, so it's perfect. We like fishing the same sort of matches. We get on well, and so yeah, I don't really want to go fishing on my own. I'd much rather jump in the van with Cam, and that's you know, I do like a bit of banter and whatever on the way and on the way back. When feeding heavy neat joker. Yeah, difficult one really. We're fishing for skimmers. I think you've got to be patient for starters. You want to lay a little bit, not lay too much line on the bottom, maybe a couple of inches, and just be very patient. Don't strike at liners and dinks and little indications. Wait for it to go under. You know, count to 1 or 2 and make sure that you lift into the fish properly. Maybe fish away from your bait sometimes. Good. I think what they do is, I think obviously bream feed up on the noses, and I think they're all in there trying to suck all the joker out where most of the joker's gone. I don't think you want to be fishing there. Fish away from the main area, and you'll pick up odd fish, and I think you'll pick up odd fish in the mouth as opposed to foul hooking them and getting lots of false bites. Darren, how are you, mate? All right. Don't know, Matt. To be honest, I've got my doubts about the retail village because, you know, it's hard to quantify how many seen another question there. It's hard to quantify how many people are there on a day, and this social gathering. I think it's going to be around in. I think it's going to be around in August, and like, we could have a couple of thousand people there at any one time, and I don't think that's going to be acceptable. And I think with it being council led, I don't think we're going to have a retail village. I might be wrong. I really want it because obviously we organise it, but I've got my doubts it's going to be on because I just don't think the social distance is going to go away. As for the fishing, don't know really. I don't know how. It depends. It depends a lot on Diane Raphael, because it's all self-funded. So she's got to start with her qualifiers on June the 16th or June the 20th, whenever the nearest weekend is. So if she doesn't get the first 5 or 6 qualifiers in, then the money's not going to be there. So it's very difficult, really. It's in the balance mat, I think, Evesham at the moment. Who's quicker at packing up, me or Cam? It's a toss-up, but I think on balance, he probably beats me now. Well, he is 20 years younger than me. He ought to beat me at summit. Matt Godfrey, unlucky not to be world champion. Yes, there's lots of people in the team. Stevie Gardner was very unlucky not to be world champion, but you've got to be lucky, like you say. You've got to be lucky. It's not a matter of time. Will Raisin has only won it once, and he is the best angler I have ever seen. He's only won it once, so you've got to be lucky. You've got to be in the right place at the right time. So yeah, he will get his chance, but everything's got to go right on the day. He might only get one chance, so who knows? I'm sure he will get his chance, and he'll probably take it, but he will need to be lucky. Like I say, Stevie Gardner is probably the best one I've ever seen, and he didn't win it. Did he come second? I think he's definitely come third since it's been 2 days. I think he might have come in second once on a one-dayer. I'm not certain about that, but it's not purely ability. You've got to have that little bit of luck as well, without a shadow of a doubt, or a lot of luck. Any more for any more? Going back to the packing up, John. Everybody asks us how we pack up so quick. I don't know really. We do. The minute that whistle goes, I start putting my gear on, my rigs on winds. We don't set a lot of kit up either, me and Cam. Four rigs is a lot for us to set up. 3 normally. Same on the drains. I will set 4 rigs up on the top 3. But that's it, 4 maximum. 3 if I can get away with it. You usually get away with it. Occasionally, you have to leap off your box and set another. Well, very rarely. Usually on the old need if the flow gets ridiculous. But I don't know. We just put it away properly. It goes on a winder. It goes in the stacker system. We're just quick, aren't we? You know what I mean? We have a lot of practice in Ireland. You've got to get in the pub quick, haven't you, in Ireland? So we have to pack up very quickly. I think our record is less than 15 minutes on Inniscarra, where we've got 2 feeder rods. 50 minutes to be in the pub after the whistle's gone. Best angler never to fish for England? Probably Mark Pollard, I would suggest. Plastered that ceiling. Yeah, I'd say Mark probably. I would have thought Mark is the best angler never to fish for England. He's very consistent, whether it's carping or fishing on the drains or fishing anywhere really. So yeah, Mark Pollard. I don't know, Mark. I bought the house about 18 months ago. It's lovely. It's a nice ceiling though, to be fair. Pole limits. I'd like to see pole limits. I mean, I do fish one at on a commercial in winter for silverfish, and it's a 14-metre limit, and that works. I think that works well, to be honest. I'm all in favour of shorter length poles. I'd love to see 13 metres, so that it makes people fish wagglers, floats more. I think that's important. That people are obsessed with fishing, 14, 16, 17, 18 metre pole. I think it's crackers. I do. Can't do your back any good in the long run. So yeah, I'd love to see a limit. Like I say, we do 14 metres at Rycroft. And I think it might come because as we get older, it ain't going to be very easy to hold 16-metre poles, is it? So I think 13 and 14 metres could be a thing of the future, the better luck. Oh, we've weighed some sections in, John, me and Cam. When we've not drawn the scales, we end up weighing the section in normally. It's certainly on the drains. I can't remember not weighing the section in. It's a long way back home, I know it's 2 hours, so we've got to get packed up quick, haven't we? Steph at Singer Eve. Well, he wouldn't have been there this year, Matt, so maybe if it's cancelled, we'll get away with it. Ground bait and bait limits. Yeah, again, I don't think it's a bad thing to have limits and ground bait limits and bait limits. I think it makes you think more about what you're doing with your bait. Obviously, we're used to it on things like census challenges and world championships. There's strict bait limits on ground bait and bait. Not just bloodworm and joker, but you can only have so many maggots or casters or worms. And it's we have to get all this ready. It's all measured out. Everything's checked. I've not got a problem with it. I'm used to it, so I'm all for it really. I know they do it down at Whiteacres, I think, and it has caught a few out. But yeah, I'm quite happy to have the bait limits. If it gets more people fishing and gives people more chance to do well, then I think bait limits are a good thing. Ground bait limits. Ground bait's not cheap. You should limit it to 3 bags or 2 bags, or depend on the venue. It all depends on the venue. In World Champs it depends on the venue. Sometimes it's 15 litres, sometimes it's 17, sometimes it's 20 litres. So, but yeah, I think it's important. I've never fished in Holland. I've always fancied it, but. Ireland is the way forward now for me. I want to spend more and more time there. I do 3 weeks in May. I'd like to do 3 weeks in September. So that's my away day fishing, I think, abroad. I do know the fishing's good in Holland, but I do like Ireland, Eric. The best straw bag I know. Bloody hell, there's millions of them, isn't there? I'm not so bad, to be honestly. The people I knock about with are pretty good. Cam's pretty good in the bag. I'm pretty good in it. Des ain't bad. There's a few out there, really. Mott Pollard's not bad. Full of skimmers. I think I'd be tempted to go and perhaps try and fish with like a very soft ground bait, Ian. I don't know if it flows so much there, but fish with like a lake and a lean mix and make a big cloud and see if you can get them to come into the cloud and fish like on the drop for them, just off bottom. I don't really know. I've never fished these once, but they are funny fish skimmers. Everything's got to be perfect, and clear water's no good for them whatsoever. So yeah, try that. Try Census Lake and Leam and put it in soft and try and make a big cloud and see if they'll come into that. Fish all around the cloud and see if you can catch some skimmers that way. We'll never go into management. Probably at the moment, no. I've fished for the best part of 20 years for England. Certainly 19, if I remember rightly. And I think when I pack up, I just want to end. I do want to go to Ireland in September. It's as simple as that. And I want to fish 3 or 4 festivals in Ireland. So that would clash with cheers. That would clash with being management for England, I think, at the moment. So probably not at the moment, but you never say never. But no, not in the immediate future. One way feeder pole. I do like waggler fishing on rivers. I think if I could pick one, I would it'd be waggler on the Trent. I think that would be my favourite. If I had to pick one, waggler fishing for roach and chub on the Trent would be my favourite. Even though most of my fishing is pole fishing, I think there's just something about a flowing river and watching a float go down the peg. Absolutely fantastic. Do I use any additives? I have used Aramix in the past. not sure. I'm not sure what advantage it gives me because I like active ground. But Aramix generally is sugar based, and it tends to kill the ground bait, so the ground bait doesn't give off any particles. It's very good fishing for big fish in deep waters, and it's not really our sort of thing over here. Although I do know a lot of people that do use it, but I have used it definitely. Other additives, I have played about with things like coriander. Coriander is very good. I know some people, some of the top anglers I know wouldn't go out without coriander. Will's a massive fan of coriander. Steve Hemingway's the same. So coriander's one. I've used epicene in the past, which is like a sweet biscuit. I've had good results with that, but somehow got away from using it. We use pasticino in Ireland, which is again like a waffle type thing. That seems to work. So yeah, we sell a lot of additives for sensors, a lot of Aramix and a lot of additives. So it must work, otherwise people won't buy them. It's just that I've never really got round to really experimenting with them. Really, the worst draw bag. Don't know, difficult one that really. You'd be surprised. I don't think Will Razor's a very good drawer, to be honest. Funnily enough. I've seen him, I don't think he's a very good drawer at all, so maybe Will, I can't think of anybody. I think everybody goes through having good draws and bad draws, don't they? And it just depends on the time. When you look back in the last 6 months, somebody's had a real bad time and they're the worst drawer. Somebody's had a great time and they're the best, but it changes, don't it? I use Maxima on a waggler and stick float. 2.5 pound Maxima for most of my waggler and stick float fishing. And for pole fishing, I use one Sensors do called a Classic for all my pole rigs. What's this one say here? I fished the silvers at Woodlands. You were next to me. I was beating you with only 4 hours 55 minutes. Well, you had me for the first 5 there, Mike, didn't you? Flat floats versus normal floats. On the drains, well, funnily enough, I never thought it would make a difference, but I did. It ran, the old knee ran a lot last year, and it ran very hard at times, and I did set a flat float up, and I did catch a few fish on it. It will only give you an advantage if it's running too fast for a round float, because on the drains you're fishing generally for lots of fish, and I think a flat float's is too slow. It's just not right, because a lot of the time it doesn't flow. But when it was flowing, flat floats were definitely an advantage, and you need one up to 2.5, 3 gram really at times. And funnily enough, I've done a load of rigs while we've been off, and I've set a full set of flat floats up from like a gram right up to like 4 gram just for the drains on quite light lines. So I will have them in the armoury for next year. Biggest mistake in match fishing. It was in the European Championships, funnily enough. I got my sections mixed up on my pole and ended up with my pole too long. And obviously being very lucky or unlucky at the time, I think there's one person per section gets picked out to be measured, and they managed to pick me that day. And so I got a yellow card for having a pole too long, which was quite upsetting at the time. In fact, I nearly packed it all in, and then in September that year I went to Czech Republic and won the World Championships. But that was my biggest mistake, getting my sections mixed up in my pole. Census brown bread, what's it called? Ooh. Oh, I can't remember. Mark Downs will tell you. What's it called? I can't remember, Mark, but Mark Downs will tell you. It's different. It's definitely different to our bread. A lot of it floats. Is very, very good for using in Ireland. Mix it with some, like I say, Census black feeder, super black feeder, and it's got. And I wasn't joking. It's got to be Census brown crumb, and it definitely makes a difference without a shadow of a doubt. It's not sticky at all, so it comes away from the feeder, comes out the feeder. Obviously, use that wind feed. It comes away from the feeder very, very quickly. Chapeleur, that's it. It's called Chapeleur. Thank you, Mark. But yeah, it does make a difference. I'm not joking. It's not sticky at all. You can't get it to stick together, no matter how much water you put with it. So it's perfect for feeder. It comes straight off, which is what you want in Ireland, because when you're catching these hybrids, a lot of your fish are catching them as your bait. As your feeder hits the bottom, your bait's falling through the water, and the hybrids hit it then off the bottom. So you do not want bait in your feeder when you're bringing the fish back, spreading your bait everywhere. So it breaks it all immediately. There's no stick with it, and the same with the black feeder. There's no stick in it. Most memorable match? Oh, I've got a few, Clive. To be honest, last year in France was very good. Like I say, I had 2 section wins on a French venue, and fishing like different to everybody else. Fishing with this double bulk off the bottom, that was memorable. I caught a 35-pound carp in a match in France once on the Waggler. Won the match with a 15 kilo something carp, 35 pounds something. That was memorable. I caught a big barbel on the Trent on a World Club Champs qualifier. I just come back from the World Champs, and I was going nowhere. I was virtually last in section, so I fished for a big fish, and I caught a 10-pound barbel on a flat float next to Alan Scothorn, funny enough, and that got us through to the World Club Champs in Slovakia, where we came 3rd. So that was memorable. On the old Neen, I always feed 2 lines at the start. Always feed about 6 metres, 5 or 6 metres. I like to fish at 6 because I think 5 is slightly too close. So I put 3 or 4 balls of groundbait in the middle, and I put 2 or 3 balls over about 11 metres, 12, depending on the depth. I want about 2.5 foot on my long line. So I put 3 or 4 balls down the middle, and I'll feed 2 or 3 balls across. And then I'll probably loose feed across and not loose feed down the middle, and just catch as many as I can down the middle. Then start loose feeding down the middle, and then generally just follow the fish over the drain and just try and catch one every chuck in. What do I think of fishing in Ireland? I fished there in the late 80s, early 90s. I was young. I went with a lot of young lads, and it was more of a laugh, really, Clive. Never really took it very seriously. Loved it, and then didn't go for 16, 17 years, and then got back into it about 7 years ago. And if I had to fish one place only, it would be Ireland. And I know the fishing isn't brilliant. It's getting better. It ain't brilliant, but there's just something about the fishing. Everything seems to be a nice size. Even the roach, the nice size fish when you catch them generally. It's just nice fishing. That is the only place. Ireland is the best. If you haven't been, you've got to go. It's getting better. The matches are brilliant. The payout's brilliant. The crack's brilliant. I just love it. If I'd go fishing one place, it'd be Ireland. And hopefully we'll get there in September, maybe. No more questions, Clive? The funny thing about Ireland is actually, I went like I say, when I was in my 20s, and then I went back when I was in my 40s, and the same people were still there, really, just a lot older. But there are a few new ones, but a lot of people, and there's a lot of people I've seen in Ireland I've not seen for like 20 years. It's unbelievable, really. But yeah, I do really enjoy it. Yeah, that is my wife. Yeah, she does support me massively. I spend a lot of time fishing away, and like I've done it all my life, and obviously I've had 2 kids. They're both left home now, but obviously, I used to leave her at home with 2 screaming kids, and I'd go fishing every Saturday. In them days, I had to go every Saturday and every Sunday. Not quite as much now, but I had to go in my own mind because obviously I wanted to get better. I wanted to fish for England when I was in my early 20s, and I felt I had to go fishing all the time. And Probably wasn't the best thing to do, but I did it, and I'm still married. So yeah, she supports me 100% really, to be fair. And I still spend a lot of time. You know, I have 3 weeks in May in Ireland, and I go over the World Championships for 2 weeks, and then I go to France for a week, then I go to Ireland again for another week. And you know, you do need that support at home, and I do get it. It's fantastic. There is no way to deal with them, Derek, to be honest. You've just got to live with them, I'm afraid, Pike. I don't think there's any way of getting rid of him. You've just got to be lucky. Hopefully one will come in. If one comes in your peg, he comes in, takes a fish off you, and clears off, hopefully. There is no answer to Pike. They're getting worse, that is a fact. Evesham's been terrible for years. The Soar's terrible. There's loads in the Trent now. Ireland's full of them. I just think it's the clarity of the water. I think also it proves that there's a lot more fish in our natural venues and our rivers nowadays as well. So there's a lot more food for them. The funny thing is, I've never seen a pike I've seen them on the dreads. I've never been attacked by them on the drains. It's absolutely full of silverfish. I just don't understand that. Des moans a lot when he draws. Is he the same at the World Champs? He likes to moan, Des, but he's funny, isn't he, with it? We got on really well, me and Des. You know, you have to do. You spend a lot of time together. You know, it took us 2.5 days to drive to Bulgaria a couple of years ago, 3 years ago. You know, you've got to get on with the person next to you. So, yeah, he does moan, but so do I probably. But yeah, he's a good man to travel with. I wouldn't really want to travel with anybody else. Probably Cameron, but apart from that, nobody else but Des, to be honest with you. He is good. He's a great travelling companion and roommate, apart from, like I say, the snoring. He don't like the snore, strangely enough. Cheers, Paul. Advice for the budding match angler. I think you've just got to pick your venues. You've got to go and, you know, when I was a kid, I would go pleasure fishing. I would go and practice. You've got to go and practice. You've got to be confident that you can compete, because it's not a cheap exercise fishing matches. I don't know what the club scene's like now. I mean, that was what got me started, really, Clive. You know, I fished in a club for probably 6 years before I even thought about going open fishing. And I learned everything from the people who were in the clubs. You know, they were good anglers. You know what I mean? They were good anglers. I learned how to fish wagglers and stick boats on the Trent and stuff like that. And Andy Bacon was one of them. Just come on now. He was the first one who started taking me fishing. The first one to take me to Ireland. And so yeah, Moorways club was fun. We used to have a meeting every Monday night. Now that was probably an excuse at the pub for the old boys, but we used to have a meeting every Monday night. We'd have, like, I don't know, 10 or 12 club matches throughout the summer. 2 of them be on a coach. It was just fantastic. I don't know if that's still about or not now. Probably not. That's how I would advise starting. But I don't know what clubs do now, Clive. To be honest, whether you know that's the way to start or not. But certainly start if you can in a club. See what you can win in that, and then if you feel confident, go on to open matches that suit your sort of fishing, and then hopefully you'll just keep going and learn. And it's all about learning, isn't it, and experience. And that's the way to do it, I think. Just got to keep trying and keep learning. Chris Simpson. I used to come to the ban, Chris. I've been on the ban a few times. You stop at the Seago. I think Andy Bacon came with us and all. I think one year, I'm sure we did. Yeah, we fished the ban, Hoy's Meadow, and we fished on the River Blackwater. And it all went a bit strange that did, and then we never went, and then I stopped going to Ireland for a bit. I do know it's good fishing again. I think I fished Home International at Port Glenone once, and I know that's had a lot of work on it now. Yeah, I do fancy it, Chris, but it's just fitting it all in, isn't it? That's the problem. Like I say, I'm married. I like to stay married, really, if I can. Get away as much as I can, but probably not, you know, 10 weeks in Ireland. I'll try and get 6 for starters. I don't even know if do they still fish Hoy's Meadow and places like that, and the Blackwater, Chris? I don't know. Remember the Blackwater, we fished 11 metres to hand, and it was like 9 metres deep, 8 metres deep. I remember watching, you know, learning there, speaking to people like Bob and Kevin, and it was like 8 metres deep, flowing, and they was throwing soft ground bait in and catching roach. And all we was trying to do was get his groundbait as hard as possible to get it to the bottom, thinking all the fish are on the bottom. So they was fishing soft groundbait, pinching all the fish off us, and like bagging up. So again, just things like that. It's just all experience, and it all sticks in the memory really. But yeah, it was good. The black water was really good at times. I remember that all around the bridge. There was pegs opposite, and like fish 11 metres to one, you'd be banging into each other. And they're still caught. I think that day they actually got. There's two blokes. One of them was an Nigel Bull that was above the bridge, and he actually got tangled with the bloke opposite. That's how close they were. And I'm sure Nigel had £100, and I think the other bloke had like 70 or 80. Unbelievable fishing. If Riverfest goes ahead, what I think of the well, strangely, Burton Joyce is probably about half an hour from my house. I've never fished it. It's incredible. I fished everywhere on the Trent, Upper Trent, but I've done very little on the Middle Trent. The Upper Trent was too good to see when I was fishing the Trent, Burton and Swarkston and Shardlow. So I don't really know it, but I've heard good reports about it. There's a lot of roach there. There's a lot of everything there. There's roach, if it's nice, roach and dace. If it's not nice, there's barb and there's bream and there's eels. So yeah, it could be a great venue, I think. I've got a ticket for the qualifier on there, so we'll go and have a go at that. So yeah, I think it's a good venue. I love the Y. The Y was fantastic because, like I said earlier, it just suited my sort of fishing. You know, feeding lots and lots of bait is what I like doing. And I know the Trent probably won't be quite like that, but you'll probably be able to feed more bait than you can on the 7 at Shrewsbury. So yeah, it'd be a good one, I think. Yeah, I reckon it will, Mark, to be honest. I've heard a lot of good reports about it. You know, hopefully it'll be a float fishing one as well. I know there's some bream in there. They probably won't feed if it's clear. The odd barbel caught. But if it can be a roach and a float match, then that's what we want, really, isn't it? That, you know, it makes it fair or fairer. It's never going to be fair, but it makes it fairer. You know, you want to be in with a chance after the Saturday. That's what you want to be. You can't win on, as I say, you can't win on a Saturday, but you can certainly lose it. So I just want to be in with a chance on the Saturday. So if it's nice and even, then you think you'd have a fair chance of doing all right. Hi James, do I do hemp and tears? Yes, I do. Mostly hemp, not so much tears. I have got some tears, funnily enough, but mostly hemp round here. But yeah, I do enjoy it. It's a bit hit and miss, I think. It's not my first choice because the trouble with hemp is you have to feed it. Usually feed it for a long time before you get any response. But yeah, I do fish hemp and tears. Yeah, hemp's a big part of my summer fishing. Yes, definitely. But yeah, Port Glenone. I think they've got about 150 pegs at Port Glenone now. I'd like to go, but we go to Niscari in October usually for the feeder fest, which is good. I don't think I'd like it really, but I do enjoy just short feeder fishing for roach and skimmers and little hybrids. Not big weights, but I really enjoy fishing it. It's fast fishing, and we're getting to know it now. Come 5th last year, 8th the year before, so hopefully I'm due to get in the top 2 or 3. Hopefully, but you got to draw obviously. But I do enjoy Niscara, but I'd like to go on the ban, but we'll have to see. It's all about time, and we'll see what goes off. It all depends. I mean, if I don't go to Ireland in September, maybe come on the ban. Just depends what happens in the next few weeks. I wouldn't say I do a lot, Clive, but like I just said, I mean, I go to Ireland in May. That's a lot of feeder fishing, big feeder fishing. You know, 50-metre chucks, fish for hybrids, and closer for roach. Obviously, long chucks. If it's not so good, you have to chuck a long way sometimes. I'm not so good at that. I don't know why. I can't seem to chuck more than about 85 metres. Must be technique. I enjoy Niscara, like I said. I don't know why. I didn't think I would, but I really enjoy Niscara. It's very interesting. Every year we go, I learn more about how to keep the fish coming all the time. Last year was a classic, really. You know, you'd fish away and you'd catch a few roach, and you'd go a little bit further and catch a few more. And, but there was more. But it's noticeable that it's changing slightly now, and there's more fish further out now, and they're bigger. There's more hybrids, like at like 35 turns now and stuff like that, and soft ground bait's good. Just it's just interesting fishing. I do enjoy it. There's a lot to feeder fishing. There's no doubt about it. People would say, "Oh, just chuck it out," but it's not. There is massive amounts to feeder fishing. I do enjoy it. Yeah, I say I do most of it in Ireland, but I do some on the rivers. I've caught some big fish on the Wye, big barbel and that. I do enjoy it. I brought up on the Trent. Feeder fishing was big on the Trent when I was younger. So yeah, I don't do as much as I do pole fishing, but I do enjoy feeder fishing. I do enjoy all sorts of fishing, really. It just depends what the venues are picked generally are float fishing venues. Well, I don't think I'm going to be quite that good, Clive. To be honest, I think well, Steve Ringer's watching. I mean, Steve will tell you he's good enough to fish in the world float team, but for him to get in the float team, he'd probably have to not fish in the feeder and concentrate all his time on the float fishing. So it's very difficult to. I think it's impossible to do both. Personally, I'd have to go out and fish feeder for years really to get up to the standard that you need to be to fish in the world feeder team. I'm not saying Steve would need years, but it takes a lot of experience of things like bloodworm fishing and stuff like that in the float team. So I don't know. I think it's difficult to do both. So no is the answer to that one. I don't think I do. Like I say, I enjoy feeder fishing, but I can't see me getting in the feeder team anytime soon. Especially if you see me cast. That's Roddy. I can only cast over one shoulder. But it is interesting, like I say, feeder fishing. Righto, thank you very much. Any what? The future of match fishing. I don't know. Sometimes I'm pessimistic about match fishing, sometimes I'm optimistic. I think match fishing will be around for a long time. I don't know in what form. I think commercial fishing will be around for a lot longer than what I call traditional fishing. I think for whatever reason, the majority of newcomers to match fishing tend to go to commercials. So I'm not sure about what I call traditional fishing on rivers and canals, but I don't think I think match fishing will be around for years in one shape or form or another, without a shadow of a doubt. I thought things like Ireland might dwindle, but Ireland's getting stronger again now. There's more people wanting to go to Ireland than there's been for years. I get the impression. Where do you see the future match fishing, Eddie? What's the difference? Dwindling numbers of what, John? I just said that I don't think match fishing numbers are dwindling too badly. Certainly on matches I fish. I mean, very rarely I fish less than 50 pegs in a match, whether it's on the Trent, the drains. The drains are like sold out at 60 to 100 pegs every time, aren't they? The Trent of Burton is sold out 60 pegs every single week. I don't fish hardly any matches less than 50. Certainly not in the summer. So I don't think the numbers are dwindling. And same with World Champs. I think it's always been between 30 and 40 teams in the float fishing. And I know feeder's getting bigger, but I don't think it's affecting the World Champs. I think they're the same as us. They've got two different teams, a lot of them. So I think the numbers will always stay around about the same. Favourite canal, yep, Stainforth and Keadby. Caught a lot of fish on the Stainforth and Keadby, Barry. I don't go there anymore for whatever reason. There doesn't seem to be any matches there now, but I had at least 10 good years on there, probably more, probably 15 years catching lots and lots of fish on bloodworm, on hemp, on casters. It was very good. Really enjoyed it. Lack of youth. Yeah, that is the only issue, lack of youth. But I think we're right. I think we'll be right for the next 10 to 15 years. After that, don't really know, John. But yeah, I don't know how you're going to get more people into fishing. I really don't. I don't know, mate. Really, it's a difficult one. I know Guru are trying, but like I said at the start, when I was fishing for the juniors, there's 30 or 40 juniors just coming out of Derby, and that was just like what we called intermediates, which was like, I can't think of the age brackets, but it was like, I don't know, 14 plus I think, and there's another 30 or 40 under 14s. Even my kids were going on the Tuesday night matches, 20 years ago, 18 years ago, 15 years ago. They're still like 10 or 15, but they just don't happen anymore. So that is the only problem, lack of youth. But I think there's enough people now at our age that there'll be a good 15 years out of it, I think, before we have real problems. Yeah, well, Derek, I don't know what the answer is really. I don't know. Like I say, Guru are doing it, but it's only they're not getting the numbers to sustain match fishing. I don't think in 25 years' time or whatever. Maybe this. I spoke to quite a few shops. Obviously, I'm a tackle agent for sensors. I spoke to quite a few shops this week, and I've asked them all if they've had any people coming in the shop that had started fishing for the first time or are taking it back up after a break, and every single one of them said there is a percentage of new customers, new people to the sport, or people that didn't used to do it and don't do it now, and probably because it's one of the only sports you can do at the moment, pastimes you can do at the moment. So maybe we might just get a bit of a boost. Something good might come out of this. Maybe from a fishing point of view, I don't know. Depends. It depends if they stick at it, I suppose. Yeah, Rianne would give me. She was good at it, Rianne. Yeah, she was better than Elliot, to be fair. Horses got in the way there, Ben. They're a lot more expensive than fishing, let me tell you. Yeah, as like I said, clubs. Yeah, clubs where we all used to start. We all started in clubs, but I don't think they're the same as when I was in a club. But I don't know. I can't comment really. I don't know it. There you go. Is that it, Clive? Right, I think that's it. I'm off. Any more questions? Put it on my Facebook or my messaging. Okay, cheers, Clive. Thank you very much. Thank you.